Why the heck are my Google ads showing outside my target location? Oh, if I had a nickel. Let's go inside Google Ads to answer your burning questions about location settings. I'm your host, Jyll Saskin Gales, bringing you more than a decade of Google Ads experience. I worked at Google for 6 years, and now I'm a marketing coach, consultant, teacher, content creator, speaker, author, and podcast host. And now to our first Google Ads question about location settings. Nasim on TikTok says, I changed my location targeting from presence or interest to just presence, but I'm still receiving calls from outside my target location. Well, first things first, Nasim, you did the right thing. Presence versus presence or interest. What is that? When you're setting up your campaign or editing your campaign settings, under the location settings, there's this hidden option called presence and presence or interest. Presence means I only want to show ads to people who are present in my target location. Presence or interest means I want to show ads to people who are present in my target location or interested in my target location. And for most businesses, we don't want that. We only want people who are in the target location. So that is always the first place to check in your campaign level settings. Check your location settings and make sure you're only targeting people who are in your target location, present there. So Nasim changed that, still receiving calls from outside the target location. Why is that? Few different reasons. The most likely culprit is your Google business profile. You mentioned that you're receiving phone calls, and one way to do that is by having conversion actions tracked through your Google business profile and the information from there. Now, with the Google business profile, you don't actually get to choose the location targeting of your business profile, right? It comes up organically on search or on maps. And so often you'll see a lot of calls coming in via your Google business profile from people who are not currently in your target location. So first thing to check is, are these calls coming specifically from Google Ads, or could they be coming organically from your Google business profile? And then even if they are coming from Google Ads, are you using a format like Performance Max, which relies on your Google business profile to create that local aspect and therefore can also cause this to happen? That's the most likely culprit. A few other things I recommend you checked. Two things. First, you want to go to your Google Analytics and check the user locations for people coming from Google Ads. That will tell you if there's just some kind of issue going on where even though you've set your location targeting in a certain way in Google Ads, the traffic you're actually getting is coming from different places. So Google Analytics is a good place to go to verify. It's also how you may find out you have this presence or interest issue in one or more of your campaigns. And then another thing to check that most people don't know about is your matched location report in Google Ads. So you want to go to, this is the new interface, Insights and Reports, when and where ads showed matched locations. This is different than the locations report, which you'll now find under audiences, keywords, and content, locations. So the difference is locations is where you can set your location targeting, your targeted locations. But the matched locations report under Insights and Reports is like a where your ads actually showed, what locations matched to the locations you're targeting. Kind of like how a search terms report shows you which search terms matched to the keywords you selected. So you want to check those match locations, perhaps down to the city level if needed. You can go even further down than that. Again, that can help show you if you're unintentionally matching to some locations you didn't mean to. I know, super confusing, but hey, if Google Ads were easy, I wouldn't have a whole business and podcast around it. By the way, if you're new to the Inside Google Ads podcast, welcome. And you may not know that you can get the transcript of this episode and future episodes delivered to your inbox each week. Simply follow the link in this episode description to sign up. It's completely free. This next question also comes from TikTok. Felix asks how to structure an ad account with 30 locations. Common question, no one right answer. Let's dive in. With the exception of demand gen, location is set at the campaign level. And demand gen, by the way, does a lot of things differently. So we will probably have an episode about demand gen in the future. But putting demand gen aside, if it's search or PMAX or shopping or video, whatever it might be, location is set at the campaign level. So if you want to target 30 different locations, you will need a separate campaign for each location in order to target each location separately. Most businesses that I've worked with also have a separate budget for each of their locations. So that works well because if you have a separate campaign, it means each campaign will have its own budget and each campaign can also have its more bidding goals. It's likely that some locations are more profitable than others. Or maybe one location is brand new and you want to put a lot more like brand awareness focus behind that. So you can also choose separate bid strategies. And if you're using bidding targets, separate bidding targets for each campaign. So a campaign for each location works well. You probably don't want a separate account for each location because it's helpful to just have them one account so they can share data, share the same conversion tracking setup on your website, share the same audience, customer data, etc. And you can do that by having 30 separate accounts all linked under one MCC, but it's just simpler to have it all in one account. All in one account means you are going to have one billing profile, one time zone, one currency. So, with your 30 locations, if they are across a bunch of different time zones and you want to see reporting in your time zone, that could be reason to split them out. If they have to have completely separate billing, like charged to different credit cards, for example, you can't do that if they're all in the same account. So, if it's like different franchise owners own each one, then you would want separate accounts with separate billing. And then currency. Maybe you're in, I don't know, Europe. And so, some is pounds and some is euros. And you want to be billed in the currency in which you're spending. Again, you can only have one payment currency per account. So, those would be some reasons why you might want to put different locations into different accounts. If they're within different countries or running different currencies, different billing, that can be helpful. A kind of in between solution you can do is potentially location grouping. So maybe you have like your East Coast locations and your West Coast locations. So you have two separate accounts for those. Or maybe it's still one account, but you have kind of three locations that are all in the greater New York area and three locations in the greater Chicago area. So you could have one campaign for the New York area locations combined together, another campaign for the Chicago area locations together. That can be helpful for a campaign like Performance Max, where the more consolidation, the better. But it's really ultimately up to you. So, how to structure an ad account with multiple locations, lots of ways to do it. I would say the most common solution is to have one Google Ads account and have a different campaign for each location. This is my third episode of this podcast. I hope you're enjoying listening as much as I'm enjoying putting this together for you. And if I could ask you for a small favor, could you please rate this podcast in your podcast app? Those ratings are really important for discoverability. And if you're enjoying listening, chances are other people would too. So please, if you can right now, before you finish the episode, take a moment to rate inside Google Ads. Or if you're like me and you listen to podcasts while driving, please wait until you arrive safely at your destination and then take 10 seconds to rate inside Google Ads. I would really appreciate it. And our future listeners, like you, would really appreciate it too. For our final location question today, I love this feature. So, Just Me and You on TikToks asks, what is the optimal location radius for a physical business? First of all, did you know you can do radius location targeting in Google Ads? It's under the advanced options. So when you go to your locations, it'll be like all countries and territories. Then it'll say the country you're in. So, like United States. Then if you go to the advanced settings, you have to kind of open the dialog window. You can choose radius and you can do it in miles or kilometers, whatever's most helpful to you. And as you pick a radius around your location, it'll show you visually on a map how small or large that is. So this is really great for local businesses, for service businesses, right? How far out you want to do service calls. And users won't see what location you chose. So even if you like work from your house, but you don't want people showing up at your house, that's okay. You can still enter your home address there just for radius targeting purposes to create that kind of service area. So what is the optimal location radius? Wherever you like to do business. You can't do a negative radius. I double checked that recently on a call. I was like, darn, that would be so cool. But you can exclude certain areas if needed. So let's say you do a radius, but kind of partway through your radius, there's like a river and you just like don't work on the other side of the river, whatever, because the bridge has a lot of traffic. I don't know. So you can exclude the city on the other side of the river or postal code or neighborhood exclusion. So still use a radius and exclude certain parts of it. So radius targeting, very helpful for physical business. And the optimal radius is however far you want to do business, or if it's like a store where people come to you, you know, in your area, how far people are likely to travel to come to your business. That radius for a Manhattan based business, for example, would probably be very different than that radius for a Houston based business. So, why are your Google ads showing in places you don't want them to? First stop is to always check your location targeting settings and repeat after me. Ensure it's set to presence, not presence or interest. Other helpful things to help you ensure you're targeting the correct locations are radius targeting, location exclusions, and verifying what Google Ads is telling you by checking your location reporting in Google Analytics and checking your matched locations report in Google Ads. If you're still stumped by a Google Ads issue that you just can't figure out, that's exactly why I offer 1 hour Google Ads coaching calls. You can check my availability and book a call directly with me by visiting my website. The link is in the episode description. I make a living helping business owners and marketers get better results from Google Ads, and I'd love to do the same for you one on one, so book a call with me. I'm Jyll Saskin Gales, and I'll see you next week inside Google Ads.